Father's Day is coming up this Sunday and we'll be sending a lot of letters. From birthdays to bar mitzvahs, Christmas to congratulations and much more. We Brits love to say it with a card. Indeed, people in the UK sent more cards per capita than any other nation. To find out more about why we're crazy for cards, Matt Cox spoke to Sharon Little, CEO of the Greeting Card Association, the trade body for the UK card industry. Sharon started by explaining the history of greeting cards and how they have their roots in Britain.
We've been sending cards since before the penny post, which was in the late 1830s, early 1840s. And what happened was that in 1843, Sir Henry Cole, who was a great entrepreneur and famous person of the time, he worked with Prince Albert on the Great Exhibition. He did lots of things. He founded the Victoria and Albert Museum. He ran out of time to send his Christmas cards, so he asked his friend, an artist, Sir John Horsley, to create a card for him, which he then had hand-coloured, printed, and sent off to all of his friends. But he sold the remainder in his shop. And that's the first commercial card that we know of, the first commercial Christmas card. But then, of course, we had a growth in posting things in general, because it was affordable, it was a penny, and it could be sent to anywhere in the country for that penny. And it really took off when people could send things. In the 1870s, we got the introduction of printing in colour, and that suddenly made everything far more affordable, and the greeting card industry really started booming from that time.
British people are one of the world's biggest greeting cards buyers and senders. Why do we love them so much compared to other countries?
Well, we've got a fantastic heritage of design in this country. We're 10 years ahead of the rest of the world in terms of greeting card design. Also, I think we find it quite difficult to express our emotions face to face, so we need some sort of intermediary. You can put a card on your mantelpiece. It's much better than sending a text or an email where it stays on the screen. And you've also got the added impact of handwriting, which makes it far more intimate. Handwriting is a real expression of who you are as a person, and you feel like you know that person's touched that piece of paper, and that they've taken a little bit of extra time to really think in advance about what they're going to say, and then put it down, because you can't backspace when you're handwriting. So that, coupled with always having had a really reliable postal service, has meant that we have a really successful greeting card industry.
Does greeting card popularity, the amount we buy and send, vary by holiday? Are there certain times of year or certain events which have proved to be more popular than others?
So we have lots of different sending seasons. Obviously, Christmas is the largest. We send around about 1 billion Christmas cards in the UK, which is a massive, massive number. And then we also have what are known as the spring seasons events. And spring, they're all the events that happen in the first part of the year. So that's Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and Easter. And Mother's Day is the most successful out of those 4 events. Our report says that the great British public spent £58.4 million on Mother's Day cards, and that was nearly 28 million cards were sent to mums.
Are we seeing changes in habits surrounding greeting cards? Is there been a shift in who's buying what, when they're buying, and what sort of things they are buying?
Well, there's just such a huge variety of cards. You can get cards for any occasion these days. So obviously I've talked about the seasons, but we also have everyday occasions, and everyday covers sending that on occasions that will happen on any day of the year. So that's obviously the biggest one is birthday, but then we have all the get well soon and new home and sorry you're leaving, that kind of thing. We're really keen. One of the things that we are really keen on in this country is relations cards. So those are cards with specific captions relating to relations, so that whether that's mothers or fathers or aunties or uncles or grandmas, granddads, nans, we really like to have a caption on the card so that person is represented, so that person feels like they've really made an effort to find a card with the right person's caption on it. We have modern sentiment in this country, so obviously we have the traditional cards which are kind of more flowery and can be verses but not necessarily just just verses. But now we have far more modern, edgy, sometimes very heartfelt, sometimes very inspirational types of captions, and these can be sent for pretty much any time. It can be just to boost somebody. If someone's feeling a bit low and you want to give them like a positive boost, then sending a card's a really, really brilliant way of doing that.
Share Radio's Matt Cox speaking to Sharon Little of the Greeting Card Association there on the British passion for greeting cards as we approach Mother's Day.